Well guys, this is it, the final frontier in terms of... No, I don't want to go into that egg shuttle thing, god darn it. Jeez, it's like the egg shuttle just doesn't want to leave me alone. What the hell? Ah, whatever. Hey, what is up everyone? It is I am the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I am back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Sonic Colors Ultimate for the PlayStation 4/PlayStation 5 due to backwards compatibility, along with the forms of Xbox One, Xbox Series X, along with Series S, PC, and of course the Nintendo Switch. So, last time, I believe we managed to able to race against with Metal Sonic 6 times in a row, while during the forms of Tropical Resorts all the way up to Asteroid Coaster, and overall that was actually pretty alright content-wise, but ultimately speaking, it just feels kind of disappoints me a little bit. So, either way though, today, for this episode in particular, this is the finale of Sonic Colors Ultimate, and for that particular reason, we are heading off to the final stage in the game, which is Terminal Velocity World. And for this world this time around though, differently from the original Wii version, I'm actually going to be going for Super Sonic for this point today. And by all means by that, well, you'll find out until whenever we're able to go back into the world map screen. And as you can see there, you can also just check out some extras ranging from, you know, watching some cutscenes again, as well as listen to some music if you wanted to, but it's all just bragging rights I suppose. But that's not to say that we are going to be able to actually mention about that, because as you can see on the world map screen, I've managed to able to get some progressioning left for the sake of the forms of, well, everything. So either way though, yeah, we're about to be heading on to Terminal Velocity, the final world in the game. And as you can see, I've basically got a lot of progressioning here, 95% complete. That's only because I recently managed to catch up to the forms of the S ranks department within like, I would say 42 of them, so I believe we've only got 2 S ranks left, and that is of course taking place in Terminal Velocity. And let me tell you, it does take a really long time to get into it though.
Oh, that fool Sonic thinks he's won because he destroyed all my generators. Well, the mind control cannon is full enough for what it has to do. I will have the last laugh!
The last laugh? How is laughing last special? Isn't that like being the slowest one to get the joke?
Yeah, I laugh last all the time. People look at me like I'm an idiot. Forget about it.
That's because you are an idiot.
You talking to me?
Yes, I'm talking to you. There's nobody else here, so I must be talking to you. Why haven't we fixed your voice chip yet?
Yo, quit busting my batteries over here. I've been working on it all day.
What does that even mean? Oh, never mind. In a few seconds, it won't matter anyway, since the world will have only one thing on its mind.
What's that, boss?
Me. No! This can't be happening! It's backfiring! Impossible! How? Ta-da!
Yo, what do you mean impossible? Your plans have been crushed by Sonic for like, ever. He stops you like it's his job or something. In fact, I can't remember a plan he didn't stop.
What are you talking about? He hasn't stopped all of them.
Name one.
Way to pay attention, pal.
Thank you, buddy! Hey, my voice! It's back! All right!
Ah, there's the sweet sound my auditory processors know and love.
Now I remember why we changed his voice chip. No matter. I may have suffered a setback, but this thing's far from over. I will crush Sonic!
The man gets an A for effort, that's for sure!
I've no idea what's up with that cutscene. It was far lacking with music in the background, which, unlike the original Wii version, in Master works just fine, so I just have no idea how come we didn't get any music here, so... Oh well, let's begin. Act 1.
Hey, Tails.
Yeah?
I got a bad feeling about this.
Good, so it's not just me.
When I feel the ground shaking under my feet and see plumes of dust rising and rubble tumbling and aliens running for their lives, yeah, I get a bad feeling. So, how about you and me make like Eggman's hairline and recede?
This isn't joke time. This is running to the space elevator time.
Sorry, couldn't help myself. We're out of here.
Yeah, we're running now.
And also, I just realized something, is the fact that in the last few cutscenes coming up, that the actual text font on certain subtitles are actually much bigger than the forms of how it does it on the past worlds, which I've no idea why they attempt to do that, even though let me know in the comments, because even then I have no idea why they managed to go for that bigger sized font for that subtitle, but oh well, no big deal. So here we go guys, on to Terminal Velocity, the final world in the game, and right off the bat that we've already got ourselves the All-Stepping Chaos Emeralds in our next to our boost gauge. Now I'm gonna save this up until for later because, well, as far as you guys can no doubt by tell, that Terminal Velocity in Act 1 is definitely one of the harder stages in the game, due to the fact that no checkpoints is actually a thing, and also we have to dodge a lot of stuff, ranging from these laser attacks, as well as the forms of the ending portion where you have to like, not only try to deal with that familiar robot ever since during the forms of Aquarium Park Act 4, but also during the forms of the motorbug sections. So because of that though, yeah, you're gonna have to able to come across into the forms of a lot of rings here, and also on top of that, you really have to dish down as many of those motorbugs as much as you can, so just in case you can able to actually catch up to trying to able to get more boost from the likes of the White Wisp and stuff like that. So yeah, there's not much else to say about it. And also that Tails save feature is unacceptable when it comes to this particular stage because there's no bottomless pits there. So it makes it pretty much sense because obviously there's no bottomless pits there. So anyways, let's go ahead and get our boost here, and once we get a bit further away from that familiar robot, we can now transform to Supersonic here, and of course, like the original Wii version, is the fact that once again rings are still applied here, well if you manage to able to grab 50 rings during the level, and also on top of that you'll be invincible, and also you basically just, well, pretty much you're able to get infinite boost. So yeah, that seems kind of handy though, especially noticeable if you really want to get the S-rank on the stage. I highly recommend you're able to play as Supersonic on this level, just because, well, it just makes everything else a lot easier for you. And on top of that though, you won't be able to actually access to the forms of the Wisp powers. So, and also we got a trophy for that by simply able to play any act with Supersonic in mind. So that's something worth classifying for noticing this from the start though, so... And I believe once again the music stops again, so... And I believe that will be the final time that will happen though, because by that time, after we're done with Act 1, then, well, the next act we're going to be hit on to is the final boss of the game. So, mind you, because this particular world only contains 3 levels, so yeah, boss time.
Time to bail!
Isn't there...
It can't be!
Leaving so soon? There are no lines, and I've saved the best rides for last. At least let me stab your hand so you can come back in.
I know you're trying to be clever with this whole amusement park pun thing, but it's just coming off lame. So just say you're going to destroy us and stop embarrassing yourself.
Curse you, Sonic! Not only do you foil my plans, but you foil my speeches as well! I work hard on them. No matter. I will destroy you, and I will be victorious. Is that better?
Like a million times better. Thank you.
This robot is special. He's powered by the energy from your little friends. He is invincible. So I'd say it's been nice knowing you, but it hasn't.
I have to admit I'm a little scared. I don't think we can beat this guy.
See you on the ground, buddy.
Huh? Sonic, no!
Just got one last thing to do. As for you...
So yes, bring it on, Eggman, for several amount of times later. So here we go, on to the final boss in the game. So it's nothing different from the forms of the original Wii version counterpart, mainly because unlike the DS version, that we get ourselves a pretty interesting extra final boss. If you managed able to actually collected all 7 Chaos Emeralds in the DS version, you were able to fight against with Nega Muffle Wisp and stuff like that. Whilst in here though, it's basically the exactly the same boss fight as in the original version on the Wii, except now with remixed music, and also that we now actually see, I wouldn't say a proper laser or like light eyes on the forms of the actual boss itself this time around though, which make everything else a little bit more, I would say intimidating at times, but either way though, that might be besides the point for the sake of time. So, dang it, I accidentally killed myself, and also since I die, the time carries over, so we'll just restart that. So, anyways, let's try this again, and of course the Tails feature is inaccessible for this particular boss as well, due to the fact that he's actually onto that particular elevator thing. So, yeah, basically the entire battle is pretty simple when you get the hang of it though, although it's kind of weird before you're able to actually, or after playing through Sonic Lost World on the Wii U, along with the forms of the 3DS version as well, and heck, even with the forms of Sonic Forces, that the entire boss battle like this is actually pretty similar to this, although except the fact that this one does feel a bit epic in almost every way, especially noticeable for that final attack you're able to actually stumble across into. And also, since you noticed that I'm actually going to be able to notice that no Supersonic on this final boss fight, just because, well, the entire battle at the end anyway, after dealing with a whole bunch of hits on him, basically that you get out able to actually just to, well, get free those different kinds of wisps. So, and of course you have to dodge a lot of these attacks, ranging from, you know, laser, as well as spikes, as well as cube, and also say applies to the forms of I would classify for saying I suppose that's pretty much as far as other attacks are concerned and stuff like that. Although it's kind of weird that he doesn't use the drill ability along with the forms of the rocket ability as well. So all he does is basically just, oh jeez Louise, some of these attacks goes really fast if you manage able to try to deal with him later on. So I digress. So yeah, basically you just got able to actually hope for the best and then just try to dodge the amount of attacks that he's thrown at you. So even though it's pretty easy when you get the hang of it though, although until likely in Sonic Lost World or Sonic Forces for that matter, the entire concept of that particular boss battle is somewhat even easier than this. Well, because mind you, they couldn't seem able to actually just change everything up slightly. Well, I have no idea why I say things like that, weirdly enough, but anyway. Yay, unlimited colors power! Final Color Blaster! Man, I like doing that. Especially noticeable, I'm glad they bring that back on Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, or Winter Olympic Games in Sochi 2014, but I digress. And also we got ourselves the firework display, which is pretty awesome all things considered, but only on the PS4 version and the Xbox One version though, because disappointingly on the Switch version, they don't include that, which is kind of lame if you ask me. But regardless of anything else though, yeah, the music is now playing, so yeah, there goes the actual results tally.
My head! Who turned out the lights?
At Eggman's incredible interstellar amusement park, you can feel comfortable knowing your safety is
Alright, so here we go on to the final stage in the game, which is of course Terminal Velocity Act 2, where there's nothing we can do apart from the fact that we can just simply run away from that giant black hole is trying to extend. While at it, we need to be able to try to jump over these little holes, because obviously these particular parts are now starting to crumble and stuff like that, or break apart. So, and also this particular stage is pretty short, and also on top of that, no ranks whatsoever, because, well, exponentially, we actually get every single S ranks throughout the game, despite the fact that I'm able to do a massive, like, multiple replays on certain stages though. But anyway, time for the ending.
Sonic, are you okay? Man, I can't believe you made it through that.
Like you thought I wouldn't?
The only thing I was thinking about was getting pushed into an elevator.
Well, a hedgehog's gotta do what a hedgehog's gotta do.
Great job, Sonic.
Thanks, but I had a little help during that last part.
He said, thank you for saving us.
You're welcome. Thank you for saving us.
He says, you are welcome.
That thing's translating pretty good.
Yep, I finally got all the kinks out. We can talk to them perfectly now. Oh, great. He says, goodbye, my friends, I have to go. Just when I got this thing working.
Better late than never, buddy. Right on.
It's pretty weird that unlike the original Wii version, that the actual transitions between these cutscenes are like kind of quick rather than just fade into black and stuff like that, unlike the original version. But that's how it's usually expected by this point. So, anyway, so here we go onto the credit sequence where basically we can just simply once again just break all kinds of letters here and there, and also that we can just still take control of Sonic here and there during the credit sequence as always. However, here's the thing about this credit sequence on this HD remastered version of the game. Well, remember back on the Wii version that I think it actually took me about 7 or so minutes to able to actually traverse for the actual credit sequence here and there. And also on top of that is the fact that in the original Wii version of the game that you were able to actually hear these two specific songs, which are Speak With Your Heart and also Reach for the Stars, which those music is so cool in the original version. Whilst in here this time around though, not only do we able to actually hear the remixed versions of the exact same songs as we used to in the Wii version, but also this credit sequence is by far, I repeat, by far the longest credit sequence of the entire Sonic games throughout the entire whole thing. Do you know how long this will took everyone else to this particular point? 30 minutes! 30 minutes in this credit sequence! And I get the reason why is because in addition to able to showing us the familiar credits of the original version of Sonic Colors, but also eventually they'll show us the forms of the remastered staff members who actually created this remastered version of the game. And I was like, okay, that seems pretty cool and all. Well, how about the fact that you get out to sift for all that stuff, and also on top of that, that it just takes much longer than the original Wii version's staff credit sequences, which I'm just like, no way in hell I'm not gonna go for all that stuff. But at least thankfully there was actually a skip button that you can able to actually skip the whole entirety of the portion of this credit sequence, unlike the original Wii version that you can't skip at all. At least thankfully on the original version of the game, that basically it doesn't feel completely drawn out or long as it goes by. So at least that's that. So anyway, let's just get into my final thoughts of, well, this amazing, well, I would say a great remastered of the forms of Sonic Colors, in this case Sonic Colors Ultimate, compared to the original version of the game. I will say that this game is pretty fun. It is certainly still playable even to this day, but it does have some bit of problems with this remastered version of the game than the forms of the original version, I might add. Well, let's get to the positives though. First of all, the graphics looks much more gorgeous now, especially noticeable this is now in 1080p, and if you ever played the PlayStation consoles ranging from PlayStation 4 and 5, in addition to the forms of the Xbox systems as well, and PC systems as well, the frame rate has been increased to 60 FPS, which it does look pretty cool, and also feels much more smoother than ever before. Mind you, on the Switch version though, it still locks in 30 FPS, which I honestly don't mind, despite the fact that it was actually the latest hardware as far as I'm concerned, but it doesn't bother me at all for this, guys, honestly. But, and also another thing too is the fact that, well, the gameplay still looks incredibly fun, especially noticeable with, in addition to able to have the familiar, gameplay style we all know and love from the forms of the Wii era of days, but also now we actually have ourselves a new stuff ranging from the Jade Ghost West, which is pretty cool, but it kind of feels a bit finicky at times though, for the sake of the forms of trying to able to actually get, you know, those red star rings in particular. And also on top of that is the fact that, well, it's just the fact that it's just a pretty fun game to be able to replay through again. Especially now this is on the modern consoles rather than just on the past. So that seems pretty cool. But again, for those of you the Sony fans or the Microsoft fans out there, you'll be very glad able to finally experience Sonic Colors for reals rather than locked on the Nintendo exclusive. So yeah, it seems all top notch in all things considered. So, but I digress. And the story, it's still pretty simple and pretty fun and light toned compared to the forms of how it does in the Dark Age, ever since during the course of 2005 all the way up to 2009. But regardless of everything else though, is the fact that the story is pretty simple, although, looking back onto the story right now, it did felt a little bit safe for the most part. But I still do like some jokes here and there, and it never gets old for me. So, yeah, as far as the forms of the gameplay is concerned, again, still very strong even to this day. And I still certainly think I actually enjoyed this, especially noticeable it's basically, you know, Sonic Unleashed daytime stages, but in the forms of, well, no werehog stuff this time around, which I guess is a good thing. And on top of that, the Wisp powers are still fun to use and all that stuff. And that's pretty much as far as I can say about it. And the controls-wise, yeah, it's perfection, as always. Just like if you ever played the, well, let's just say, if you guys ever played the Xbox versions on, well, let's just say Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Generations, and Sonic Forces, you might be familiar with the forms of the controls layout, and especially noticeable the PlayStation versions, or to be more specifically, the HD version of Sonic Unleashed on the PlayStation 3, along with Sonic Generations and Sonic Forces. You might be still familiar with the control scheme and all that stuff though, which you might be feel comfortable to behold. And on the Switch version though, it kind of feels a bit difficult for me to get used to with the controls on the Switch version. Although mind you, I did manage to use the Pro controller though for the majority on my own time. And as a result though, that's usually because I'm more accustomed to the GameCube controller, which I think the biggest problem by using the GameCube controller on the Switch version though is the fact that the actual button layouts are somewhat changed. Although, you can still customize it though, which I guess is a good thing after all. So, I can at least able to try to demonstrate that if I was going to able to come back into the Switch version at one point, even though there's no point going back into that version anymore, just because I've already 100% for everything on my own time. And plus, on top of that though, is the fact that well, I found the Switch version is alright, so even then though, as far as the other versions of the game, I think the PS4 version definitely looks a bit more greater than the forms of how it does it on the most of any other versions. Although sure, the PC version is still a more of a definitive way playing Sonic Colors Ultimate because of the forms of so many ROM hacks here and there, also mods out there, which is still very impressive even to this day. So yeah, that's as far as I can say about Sonic Colors Ultimate's positive aspects. Now let's get to the negatives in terms of the forms of this version in particular. Although, I will say the music still looks really good, especially noticeable on the original OST tracks, specifically on Planet Wisp, and especially noticeable with Starlight's Carnival music is back again. Although the new remix counterparts of certain familiar music is alright, but I will say though, the Sweet Mountain variation is one of the worst remix songs, just because, well, it just feels kind of out of place with the instruments department, which I have no idea why I managed to say things like that, but at the very least we're glad able to hear the original OST music on the original Sonic Colors again, after experiencing the actual, like, well, just anything else in particular. And also, there are a few times where we might able to come across into a couple of glitches here and there, which, it's not the game's fault, it's just a bit of a technical problems with how the fact that, well, it's kind of hard, it's almost like an emulation version of Sonic Colors, well, except the fact that, well, usually the cutscenes doesn't go brand new or anything, it's just basically, it's more like the upscaled version, and then just like, put the Wii in-game cutscenes and then just try to slap it onto the forms of the Sonic Colors game itself. But it doesn't really matter to me though, because it kind of feels like a similar system as the forms of Super Mario Sunshine cutscenes on Super Mario 3D All-Stars compilation. So, except the fact that it doesn't go zoom in and all that stuff. So at least that's that. So. Also, I gotta say is the fact that the Reach for the Stars remix is actually pretty okay. Like, although I've still kind of preferred the original version a bit more just because of how catchy it is. Although, we still got this very amazing orchestra score, which still looks very impressive. So, that's pretty much about that for the music department. And, well, there are some, issues with the forms of the actual sound on the other hand though, such as for instance if you try to able to transform into certain types of wisps, basically that some music doesn't play most of the time, so it's all completely dead silent the majority of the time, and also that some of the result screen music doesn't play out either, which it kind of feels a bit awkward in some places. And also I feel like the difficulty has been scaled down compared to the original Wii version of the game, mainly because of the there's no options able to actually change to normal mode or easy mode. So because of that though, we are locked in easy mode due to Tails save features. As a result, it does ruin the challenge for a bit, but aside from all that stuff though, it's just the fact that it's just there, and that's pretty much as far as I can say about it. So yeah, I suppose that's pretty much as far as I can say in terms of Sonic Colors Ultimate. You can still definitely recommend getting this game either on the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox various systems on Xbox One or Series X. If I were you might as well able to cope with the forms of the PlayStation 5 version because, man, the load times on the PlayStation 5 version, as far as I've heard about everything, it loads ridiculously fast, along with the forms of Xbox Series X as well. Although, mind you, I think you might pass on the Switch version a bit. Although, mind you, the Switch version does have a worse amount of glitches they have. And especially back in the day, oh god, you stumbled across the forms of seizure reducing areas, which as a result, luckily I'm the only one never come across into that at all, apart from one exception, which is of course, the most annoying blackout moment when it comes to likely Gameland 5 Level 2. And as a result though, it really irritates me for a bit. So, yeah, I guess that's pretty much about the forms of Sonic Colors Ultimate. I definitely enjoyed the game again, but this time on the HD platforms. So, yeah, I'm very glad that this particular remaster exists, because obviously that it's so fun to play through, even for like, more than 10 years later. It still holds up, despite there are some technical problems during the course of this HD remaster, but aside from that, it's a must-have for a Sonic fan out there, myself included. Especially noticeable because obviously I've now managed to able to, like, well, finally get back into Sonic Colors, because it's been such a long time since I actually played Sonic Colors on my own time, especially noticeable after the Wii version came out for about, well, let's just say 11 years ago, roughly, and as a result, though, that it's been such a long time since we actually finally get into this familiar Sonic game again from the 2010s era, so because of that, though, yeah, that's pretty something, alright? And of course, that's just like in the original Wii version, as you can tell, that you're still able to collect some rings, and also on top of that, that you weren't able to interact with certain wisp powers, just like in the original version of the game. So, yeah, that's pretty much as far as you might expect it and such. And also you can see some different kinds of wisps for, just marching about underneath the screen. So yeah, we now ended up on the Sonic Colors Ultimate portion of the staff credit sequence, which again, it extends much longer this time around though, which I will say though, that will take forever to able to sit through, which I encountered that ever since in one of the videos was actually uploaded just recently for about a few months ago. Now it's the forms of well, Sonic Colors Ultimate credit sequence, extremely warning, way too long. So yeah, I can totally see why that most people are really trying to skip this portion, although thankfully you can still get the achievement if you try to skip this portion of this credit sequence. So yeah, it really doesn't matter to me anyway though, just because, well, I can just simply able to actually skip the actual longer credit sequence throughout. Although I'm perfectly fine when it comes to like long marathon movies and stuff like that, but for the likes of the forms of these games in particular, although mind you, thankfully on the Switch version you can play on the go, so at least you don't lose your progress. But as a result of that stuff though, if you don't have a Switch on the other hand though, well, you have to go for this whole entire painful sitting through stuff like that, so... But yeah, that's as far as I can say in terms of Sonic Colors Ultimate. Again, there's not much commentary-wise I can think of, but I think that's as far as I can say about it. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. This is me, Sonic the Hedgehog, from the likes of the Maxi Toys, and until then, I'm about to be leaving. So, anyways, let's just try to skip this little credit sequence here, so... In fact, I don't know how long this thing will take, to be honest with you. In fact, it's actually... kind of awkward able to do commentary on, I must be honest. Yeah, it still keeps on going, like literally just going for like almost like a few moments notice, and also on top of that, no music in the background. So yeah, this might be pretty awkward to end things off for this point right here, especially noticeable. I don't want to make the actual video itself make way too long right here, so oh jeez, I don't know how long this will take. In fact, oh jeez.
20 minutes later.
Faster, you idiot! Faster! Put your backsides into it!
Technically, we don't have backsides, boss.
I don't care! Just push! We have to hurry! I already have my revenge planned out, and next time I will not fail!
Of course you won't, boss. Of course you won't. On the bright side, a certain someone got their voice back.
I feel like my old self! All I want to do is talk! Hey, remember when we were chasing those little alien guys? What's up with those things anyway? They sure were funny looking! Smell good though?
Ugh, what I wouldn't give for the maddening silence of space right about now.
Hey, I heard they started using fish! Bummer we didn't bring any with us! Not that we can eat it since we're robots, but we kinda looked at it! I love looking at stuff! I love stuff! The fireworks show game was great! Hey, how did we get all this stuff to blow up like that anyway? Loved it! By the way, did we destroy Sonic this time? No, I'm sorry! No, we never destroyed Sonic! Where are we going?